It's tea time. Um, Today is December 9th, 2024. It's 8:32 p.m. And I made a song yesterday. Pretty proud of it. I think I enjoy writing songs when the inspiration strikes instead of forcing it every day. I think I must have just had a lot of inspiration in 2019, 2020, and I guess with COVID, yeah, it makes sense. Um, but I'm trying to find things to do in my free time when I'm not on the computer. And one of those things, I'll get closer because of the sound of this kettle. One of those things will be knitting. But my parents got me all this yarn one year for Christmas. And there's a lot of it, but it comes in like the skeins, whatever it's called, rolled up. And I did the majority of this untangling in the Bancroft house, but I still have this, and it's frustrating. Um, and then the hairs and dust get caught in this mess here, but it's not as simple as untangling a headphones cord, because this is not rigid at all, so you can't really pull on it. It just, if there's enough tension, it just gets stuck. And I don't know what a good strategy is, other than kind of loosely pulling the parts apart, and then, I don't know. I keep loosening it and pulling on the main one. It's taking a while though. And yeah, I hope when I get this done, I will be able to start practicing knitting again. I think this is going to have to be my practice yarn, because I don't remember how to knit. I'm sure it'll come back to me quickly, but I don't want to try to start a project and then immediately ruin it with uneven knitting and things like that. Because I know I made a lot of mistakes in all my other attempts. So this is really difficult, man. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this. If I had found the other end, I think it would be easier, but the other end is lost in here somewhere. I really don't know where it could possibly be. I'd work backwards if I could. And maybe at some point I found the other end, but it just seems impossible. But the tea's done, let me do that. What did I do today? Well, worked, and I tried to play the new Indiana Jones game, but it requires ray tracing. You cannot turn it off. It just forces ray tracing, and I do not have a graphics card good enough to ray trace. So I can't play it, and I refunded it. I'm pretty disappointed about that. But it's okay. If I have to play it, I'll buy a better computer at some point, or I'll watch the cutscenes if it's like a movie in some way, or they'll fix the requirements. I doubt it. But that was disappointing. But at least now that game's not going to suck up all my time. So that's something. What else did I do? I took a walk to a game store on South Street and bought some cards. So that was nice. I'm avoiding talking about exactly what I'm doing because it's kind of a surprise for my friends, but I'm sure some of them might watch this. If Andrew watches this, I don't mind him knowing. But my plan is to secretly get pretty good at Magic, so that next time they do a draft, I'll be able to act like, oh, I haven't played since the last time we did a draft, but I'll be better. And Harry's interested because we played Yu-Gi-Oh! So me and Harry are going to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! And a Magic draft, and I think that'll be fun. With Sydney and B. If they're interested. But I know they like Yu-Gi-Oh! So figure it won't be that hard to transition. I ate the leftover Indian food and now I have heartburn. I think it's just the spice that gets me. But it's really good. I really have no clue what I'm doing. There's just something at this part here that I can't get past. Future me, if you have any advice on how to untangle yarn, I would appreciate it. But I don't know how you'd tell me. If you have that advice, I guess I'll have to do the work to educate you. Been reading that How to Be Victorian book, and the last thing I read about was privies and outhouses, and how most people, they just dug a hole and composted it and it worked fine like that. But once cities started getting bigger and more crowded, there was not enough land for everybody to dig holes in for their outhouses. So people started having like cesspools in their basements where all of their privy stuff was seeping into their basement. And there was a survey done where like everybody had cesspits in their basement and most of them were just full and disgusting and it was leaking into the water. And there were people, the author called them jakesmen, but I Googled it and couldn't really find much. I didn't do a great Google search, but I couldn't find much about how that name came about. But there were guys who'd come at night and shovel out all the waste from the cesspools, and they'd shovel it into buckets. And if it was two guys, they would have the shovel like over their shoulders, one in front of the other, and hang the bucket on the pole and dump it somewhere. I think they had a sewer system, but it just went into the river. And so in 1858, it's called The Great Stink of 1858. It was so hot that all of the smell from the river that had everybody's shit in it stunk out the entire, more than the city. I don't know where it was. Whatever was along the river. And it finally made the government people think, oh, maybe we need a way to treat all this waste. and they made a better system. I don't know what changed about it. Someone just sneezed. What they did to make things better. Maybe I'll get there. But I'm still just on the morning before breakfast. So this is a very interesting book. And I like that the Kindle tells you how much time it estimates it'll take you to read. And I still got 10 hours left. And that's enjoyable because when I started it was like 12 hours. So I think I'm reading slower than it thinks, and that's nice. And I like that more than... I don't like reading a book and knowing that I'm at the end, you know, because I know how many pages there are and I'm holding it and I'm able to see that I'm at the end. Like sometimes it's enjoyable because I'm like, oh, it's ending soon. What's going to happen? But most of the time I don't like it because then I know that I should start expecting end things. Like when I'm watching a movie, I don't like knowing how long the movie is or how much time's left if I'm streaming something. Because then I start thinking about it, the structure and how are they going to wrap it up, and oh, if this is an episode of a show, they're never gonna tie this up in this episode, and now it'll be a cliffhanger. And I feel the same with books. So I kind of like just knowing how much time is left, an estimate, versus how many pages are left, which I'm sure it could tell me, but I don't want to know. I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm making a little bit of progress, I guess. Not much. And I kind of told myself I wouldn't go over 10 minutes for these. So did anything else happen today? I don't think so. Nope, that's it. So I will continue unraveling this, maybe start knitting. And you have a good night.